Hi everybody, this is Denise with What's Happening News, and of course what's happening today, as you can see, I'm here with Jerome Kowalski. It's January 20th, 2024. Like, oh wow, time's flying.
Time's flying, yes.
And we're just going to recap, giving an update on Jerome, where Jerome's at. You know, I do have people comment sometimes like, I mean, he still doesn't have his trial. I've had people call me. You know, he still doesn't have a trial. So we thought we'd also just quick do a recap of, you know, the timeline, right?
Right.
So in May of 2008 is when his brother and wife were murdered, and he was charged with the murders.
Right.
And then he went to the Livingston County Jail. They did some appeals. It took 5 years before he got a trial. So now he's been in jail for 5 years for crimes that he didn't commit. And then 2013, the trial starts. It was completely, what would you say in one word what the trial was?
Oh, it was basically, I think, one way, the prosecutor's way and the judge's way. You know,
Completely botched.
yeah, it was
Completely unfair. Most of the evidence didn't get let in. The prosecutor in charge was Bill Vaillancourt at the time, and the one that conducted the prosecution part was Pamela Moss, and it was like a sideshow, wasn't it?
like a circus, really.
Right, and Vaillancourt and the ex-Judge Brennan were running for re-election at the time, and they just wanted this done. They didn't care really if he was innocent or not. They just wanted it done so they could get reelected.
Right.
And you know, there was people of interest that were way more of interest than him at the time, but they didn't even look at them.
Right.
So 2013, then he's convicted, and he goes to prison, and he went to a few prisons. And then in late 2016, the Brennan saga broke out with her ex-husband divorcing her, and then he let out all the evidence that she was having a full-blown affair with the lead detective in his trial, Sean Furlong, which that was brought up in the beginning by the lead judge. When she got the case, he asked her to recuse herself because of what was being heard around, that she was in an affair with this sergeant that did the investigation, and she denied it. So then when the divorce thing started, then all the proof came out of all these text messages between the lead detective, Sean Furlong, and Judge Brennan. So that proceeded on, and Brennan ended up getting charged with trying to erase her phone from her ex-husband, and so she got taken off the bench, she got sent to jail, and Jerome got granted a new fair trial in 2019. They rushed him. I remember they rushed him out of the prison. It's like, Jerome, you know.
Yeah, hurry up, pack up and let's get your stuff together. They're going to be here in a half hour.
Right, because they gave him a new trial, and he didn't even get to take all of his stuff, and then he ended up losing all of his stuff.
Yeah.
From there, all his books and his letters and everything that he, had, and he was rushed back to the Livingston County Jail in 2019. Well, then the flu hit, and everything got pushed back, and so he spent another 3 years. Now we're up to
2022.
Yeah, 2022. He spent 3 more years in the Livingston County Jail again, waiting for this new trial. So then they decided, well, we're just going to let him out on tethers to his son's house, which was a godsend. Oh,
it was.
After being 13 years and locked up, and they said, okay, we'll let him out, and we'll put a couple tethers on him. So he can't, he's under arrest at his son's house.
House arrest.
Yeah, he can't go anywhere, except to doctors and that kind of thing. So that's where we are. So this whole thing has been a 16-year nightmare for the Kowalski
Right.
family. And so, what do you think? What do you say, Jerome? Where are you at now with it?
Well, we've got a few more things going with my attorney, and we've hired some expert witnesses that we are checking in on some phone conversations that we weren't able to track. So we got a expert to handle that for us, and we're hoping that's going to break open some more favorable information regarding my innocence. So that's the thing that's going on right now with my case and the.
In his original trial, they didn't let like boxes of evidence into the trial to prove his innocence. You know, and then they did have some experts back then pinpointing the time of death. And where were you at the time of death?
Over at Selfridge
Air Force Base, where
Air
he
Force
worked,
Base, where I worked.
because they had pinpointed to like 2 and 4 in the morning or something like that.
Yeah.
And he was at work.
I worked
So-
midnights at the base, so.
So they had no DNA on him, they had no weapon, and they had no motive. But some others that were in this big horrible thing, they didn't even look at them, which if they looked at them, it pointed way more to them. But they just focused on him, and they had nothing on him, except the false confession. That's what they took him on. And so now you're in appeal, because when he got granted the new trial, he wanted Pamela Moss, right, and the Sergeant Furlong, who got, when this all hit, Furlong got retired. Nobody's heard from him, since then, with full benefits. So they wanted Furlong and Moss to testify in his new trial.
Right.
And so they gave him a judge out of county, because of course the county in Livingston, they couldn't get many of those judges.
Right.
This is the biggest scandal case of all times in Livingston County. He was even on Crime Watch Daily. They did a whole piece on him years ago. You can see it. It's up there on the internet,
Right.
explaining the whole thing. And so now he's on an appeal to get these people to be able to testify in your trial, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But he wanted the Supreme Court to take a look at it, and that's where it's at right now. It's with the Supreme Court, so we'll see what happens. Keeping our fingers crossed that this judge recognizes the wrong that was done, and that there's so many bad things going on with local county courts that maybe we can get some of this taken care of. And
Yeah, and there's so much proof that they have
Yeah.
to prove his innocence. I mean, it's like, there's so much. So I just wanted to get with Jerome and do an update, because like I said, people still ask. I mean, I posted something not too long ago and they said, he still hasn't had his trial? No. It's 16 years. What's the big deal?
and
Right.
the funny thing they did, they even took all my clothes, checked them for DNA, for blood. They came into my house 2 times, checked all my sinks, the drains in the bathroom,
Yeah.
in the bathtub. I had a well. They even went inside the well to see if their gun was down there. Disrupted everything in my life and my family's life too, because they had to they searched my house 4 times too. That's right.
So then this is what he would have had to have done. He would have had to drive from, where did you live at the time?
Warren, Michigan.
To Warren, Michigan, to Howell at 2 in the morning, kill his brother and his wife, shoot them both 3, 4, 5 times. I mean, who cares how many, right? As long as you killed them. And then drive back to his house in Warren.
And have no blood
Yeah,
splatter.
and have nothing. And find, there's no DNA at the scene.
Not one. They came, in fact, they even came to the county jail and took
Hair?
hair samples,
Wow.
and that
Nothing.
didn't prove anything. You know, they thought they were gonna find blood spatter all over my clothing and everything. There was nothing. I wasn't there.
Right. Right. And you had no even motive to do that.
No, I didn't.
And I remember when I first met your son, and I got to say this because I never forgot it. When I first met his son, that's how I got involved when I found out about this case. Jared said, if you ever met my dad, you would know he couldn't kill a fly. You know, and sure enough, that was so true. He's just the kindest,
Laid back.
God-loving man you ever want to meet.
That's where we're at.
Yeah, keep praying because the prayers really help, don't they?
They sure do. Yeah.
And he's been. I don't even know how they do it. I don't. I've been involved with this 7 years now, and I can't stand it. I want to just. But I know how you especially get through it is, because of God.
We always enter, when I talked to him when I was in jail, we always, as my son would say, trust in God, and that's one thing I always did was trust in God. I had a little prayer that came out of Proverbs, and it was trust in God with all your heart, lean not into your own understanding, but in all ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. The other thing was, don't let anyone or anything shake your faith. God is real, his word is true.
Aw,
And in
yeah.
closing, I just want to say that I thank everybody that's doing any type of prayers for me and keeping me in their thoughts and supporting me morally and everything. God bless you all, and God bless your families, and I hope that God keeps you and your families safe in everything you do in all your travels, and may God bless America too.
Yes, and so please share the video because there's, a lot of people that still, aren't up to speed with what's going on. I know I lost my fake book account last year, and I lost a lot of the people that were on my friend list, and so if you could just share it too, so others could, maybe say some prayers, that would help. So that's it. That's what's happening today with Denise. Love and peace.
Amen.
Love you,
Love
Jerome.
you guys.
Love you.
Love you too.